Hi everyone, if you like what I do, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and consider checking out my Patreon. Enjoy the video. Over the long history of Terraria, many castes have risen to prominence, conducting great and terrible deeds along the way, only to inevitably fall to the inexorable march of time. Only a single group has ever managed to avoid this fate though, masters of the ancient arcane arts, who forever lurk in the shadows of antiquity, stepping forward when they are most needed, before once again becoming not but legends and myth. These are the wizards, Terraria's silent guiding hand. Gods had begun, humanity had players deep and challenging, different is less likely to get me horribly Known as nothing more than stories and tall tales, the beings most referred to as wizards have been with Terraria since its earliest days, silently watching over and guiding its fate. In many ways, the wizards are much like the world's custodians, tasked with watching over an aspect of Terraria's being. However, where the Dryads concern themselves with Terraria's physical purity, the wyverns with its air, or the fishrons with its oceans, the wizards are in truth a single phantasmal being, conjured up from the world from which all manner is derived, the essence of Terraria itself, in effect, its soul. Concerned only with maintaining a balance in all things, this creature of pure mana would split itself into 6 demi-mortal forms, each of which were versed in an aspect of the great magic that makes up existence. There was the alchemist, one of great skill in potion brewing and clairvoyance; the battle mage, one who wielded the art of destruction, protector of the weak and destroyer of evil. There was the conjurer, able to summon anything he could dream out of the aether; the enchanter, capable of bestowing great and varied power onto any object of his choosing. There was also the scholar, a mage of high learning, knowing the most ancient of magics and secrets hidden from all but himself. And finally there was the druid, able to bend nature to his whim, cousin almost to the dryad. Across the ages they would travel the land, conducting great feats of sorcery that shocked and amazed all around them. Often their presence was benevolent, although on occasion their actions took a more sinister turn. But no matter what they did, good or bad, even if the deeds were incomprehensible to those who witnessed them, they never ceased to be in the ultimate service of Terraria. However, it would not stay that way, for foul omens told of dark times ahead for the magical brethren. For most of their existence, the wizards had gathered only on a handful of occasions, spending most of their time as lone court magicians for kingdoms requiring guidance, travelling mages assisting those in need, or even dark warlocks, posing as a threat to unite a fractured community. In all of these instances, the wizards managed to maintain their anonymity, with their mere existence remaining questionable. Then came the time of corruption and great suffering. In the darkest of times, the wizards did what they could to ease the burden of those around them, but even with their great power, there was little that they could do alone. So in an unprecedented decision, the wizards gathered together and chose to combine their abilities, forming what was seen by many as some sort of mages guild. While they were able to do many great things together, knowledge of them began to spread far and wide, creating a unique moment in Terraria's history when the existence of wizards was taken as fact, with many accounts of their deeds being committed to the annals. As quickly as the stories of open wizardry had started though, they would soon come to an end, with many of the later tales describing highly questionable decisions by the wizards, sacrificing a town to stop a natural disaster, teaching a dark serpent the ways of magic, condemning a city-state to technological stagnation. It was clear that they did not conduct their best work together, with their conflicting ideals and methodology making clear decision-making nearly impossible. Not only had the formation of their guild caused them to make rash choices, but it had also started to corrupt them from the inside out, a fact that wasn't fully understood until it was too late. Still, the wizards knew something was wrong, and so they disbanded their guild, attempting to go back to the solitary lives they had once led. Travelling out for years on his own, the druid would see a peaceful kingdom at threat of being overrun by anyone who chose to conquer it, and so he offered his services to their king, going on to ride with his legion of horsemen. At first the wizard would show them how to better defend their kingdom and perceive foreign threats, but despite his warnings, the king maintained his pacifism. This stubbornness would anger the druid, an emotion unusual to wizards, and desiring to illustrate what dangers lay beyond the king's borders, he tricked a neighbour state into attacking them, convincing the king to retaliate and annihilate the invader entirely. All was not as it appeared though, for the druid lusted after the power he had felt when combining his strength with the other wizards, and so sought out a fragment of the corruption which bolstered his strength, but also warped his mind, as so too the power of the guild had, only many times worse, leading him to cause that genocidal war. To deal with their wayward brother, the wizards met and stripped him of his power, leaving him to his fate. But in their own ways, they too were changing into something altogether more wicked. Already the conjurer had vanished without a trace, and the battle mage was growing more aggressive with every passing day. It would appear then that the power the druid had uncovered was not the true cause of his ailment, but had rather sped up his condition. For a time the wizards worked in isolation to cure their affliction, but soon the battle mage would abscond to seek out constant combat. As if this was not enough evidence, the others soon realised that there was little that could be done, and so the enchanter and scholar decided to travel deep into the underground caverns in an attempt to keep what they would become away from those of the surface. Explorers would later recount tales of what they had become, naming the creatures the Rune Wizard and simply Tim. The alchemist, however, refused to give up and worked tirelessly to find a solution, eventually concluding that if he could not remove the illness, then he would remove himself from it. It was the knowledge of the great power that seemed to be driving the transformation, an almost cosmic level of understanding not possessed since they had shared the same form that would burn their individual minds. To address this, the alchemist concocted a potion to make him forget and ensure that he would continue to forget. He would lose part of his mind, appearing almost senile, but at least he would not come to hurt anyone. Taking the potion, he would travel deep underground like his brothers and bind himself in case it did not work, and in silence and solitude, he waited. As it happened, the potion would work, only he would forget and simply remain bound and alone until someone would happen upon his helpless form. And so the great wizards of Terraria lay scattered and broken across the world, leaving the very soul of Terraria unprotected. One had become a nightmarish travesty, 2 had vanished from the face of the world altogether, while 2 more were now twisted cavern dwellers, and the final lone wizard was now a senile shadow of his former self. Maybe it was the corruption that had perverted them all along, and the Dryad's efforts to purify the world would restore them to their former glory. Or maybe they will remain as they are forevermore, leaving a wound in the world that may never heal. Then again, it could be that one strong enough in the arcane arts may yet step forward, taking the place of the old wizards and become not just the champion, but the guardian of Terraria. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw, then please consider liking the video, subscribing and sharing it with your friends. If you want to support the channel even more, then head over to Patreon, become a channel member or buy some merch. Links are all down in the description. I hope you all have a great day and I'll see you next time.